Iron Maiden, that's your benchmark for heavy metal album covers and the history of heavy metal album covers. And so you take an album like Somewhere in Time, where it just has all this eye candy and all this hidden stuff that you can, as a fan, sit there. I mean, talk about children of the 70s and 80s, that's what you did. You went and sat down and you listened to the album, and you stared at the album art, and you could stare at it for hours, especially something like Somewhere in Time, So I think we were both on the same page with, like, we want to give the fans that experience, and Paul, that's what Paul does. He goes way above and beyond and gives so much. And I mean, Hushed and Grim is just, so it's like the perfect album to bring him back.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for coming online to chat.
Of course.
It's exciting to get to talk about, the parts of associated with music that I love so much, which is album artwork and artwork of a band over a career. And you guys definitely have built a relationship, together that's spanned such a long career. So Paul did the art for Remission, which was 2002.
Well, he did the art for Life's Blood, because I think he was kind of freelance, but working for Relapse Records, which was our label at the time. Paul and I had already met during the Life's Blood thing, or we'd already talked. I think we talked on the phone, and we met in person, and we started talking about Remission. And I had this question of, like, I think it was, can you paint like a Dutch master? Can you paint a Vermeer just real quick? I knew right off the bat we were on the same page with art, movies. It didn't take long, probably about maybe 5 to 10 minutes to be like, okay, we're on the same page. Remission had it sort of taken off, and we were like an underground, something bubbling under the surface, that our band was going to maybe get bigger, and people were talking about us, and they were talking about the art, They were talking about that cover. And so we got together on Leviathan, and I remember having a phone call with Paul and just all these ideas, The idea to go with Moby Dick as a focal point for that particular album had more to do with the art maybe than the music, He ran with that idea, so it was very like back and forth, and Paul just is very knowledgeable about other cultures and other religions and all the different artistic accoutrements that accompany those religions and all their so there's a wealth of knowledge of symbolism, and Paul just puts all that into the art.
Paul, I guess Mastodon is kind of a rare bird, being that it's a band that somehow sounds like their artwork looks, and looks like their artwork sounds in a weird way. This artwork you've created. When I wanted to know about the process of sort of briefing with the band, when you're working on a Mastodon piece, are you creating these artworks while hearing new and unreleased songs for inspiration, or do you create a work that's standalone and then sort of work together for the broader idea of the themes and lyrics?
No, it's made in conjunction. Bron is keeping me in the loop there, sending me demos, everything early on. And I guess trying to keep the conversations kind of minimal, I think especially at this point where we're very much in tune, kind of comes out this, very fitting in the end.
Right. So it truly is kind of interwoven as the artwork's being created, the music's being created, sort of.
Yeah, and I don't like to be as like that obvious as just completely translating the lyrics. I like it to be a little abstract and leave some room for imagination there. I'm very fortunate to, I think it's a position of trust, and I'm very fortunate in that way.
And what sort of scale are you generally working at? My next question is kind of about, the parameters of album artwork. It can be sort of, it can box people in a little bit as an artist. So I'm wondering how you keep that interesting for yourself, for the band, for the viewers. But
I'll go stand next. This is the painting. I'll stand next to it.
That's amazing. Wow.
I'm 5'10", so
yeah,
that's 9 feet tall.
Well, he painted. I didn't even realize how big it was till I saw that thing. I was like, Jesus! Oh my God, it's huge! It's huge!
Yeah, so I think that really comes through though, in the artwork, especially the amount of detail you get in a piece like that when it's brought down to, the size of a Spotify tile. There's just so much detail and it just makes you want to own a vinyl copy so you can pore over it. I think that's one of the brilliant things about it. I wanted to talk about Hushed and Grim, and I understand there's some very personal connections for the whole band with the symbology in this artwork that Paul's created. Can you share a little about where the theme comes from?
The phrase comes from, it's actually from Gone with the Wind. There was like a title card that comes up halfway through the film where, you know, Sherman has burned Atlanta to the ground, but it just reads Hushed and Grim because it's, you know, sometimes when there's a tragedy has taken place, it's not always running around and screaming that a tragedy has taken place. Sometimes there's this quiet acceptance that that's what's happened and there's nothing anybody can do about it. When our manager and our friend Nick John had taken him, he went into home hospice, which, you know, basically they set up a hospital bed at your house and you have a nurse and you have your family there. And so we went to go visit him, and you know, it was that phrase basically describes the mood of the house. You know, when you open up the door and you go inside and your friend is there in the bed, it's just really quiet and it's grim. So I didn't, that was like the perfect way to describe that mood. Really, you know, as far as Hushed and Grim is concerned, in the beginning, I just offered up color palette, you know, that I just saw it as being black and gray and silver and, you know, maybe some gold thrown in there, you know, and that was really that's all I had in my head when I was giving demos and things to Paul. He came back with this tree, you know, and this Norse mythology and all this different symbolism all tied together with this big tree. And I had this sort of an afterlife mythology that I had come up with, that you go, after you die, you inhabit the heart of a living tree and you experience the seasons one more time to say goodbye to your natural life. So we were totally synced up on that in a kind of a weird psychic way. So that was cool. I thought that was really interesting.
It's just another example of this partnership kind of, finding its feet in a natural way. Like you said, you didn't brief him on that your visions were aligned even without having a written brief go down aside from color palette, which is just incredible. Again, congrats on Hushed and Grim, and thank you for having a look back at how you guys have been working together. It's really inspiring to see the artist and band connection come together to create such amazing things.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Really nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.